The town of Orania in the Northern Cape has come out with a plan to minimize the effects of rolling blackouts. They've completed the first phase of their solar plant after residents donated funds towards the project. They now sell power to the residents at the same price as Eskom and will use the profits for the building of the second phase of the solar plant. Let's catch up with SABC News reporter Ulrich Hendriks, who's in Orania for more on the story. A very good morning to you, Ulrich.
So we're at Orania in the Northern Cape. That's about 50 kilometers from Hopetown. And of course, Orania, famous for being a self-determined year since about 2001. Of course, they recently announced that they are now going to generate their own electricity. Let's talk to Joost Strydom, who is a spokesperson for the Orania movement. Joost, tell us your plans with generating your own electricity.
Ulrich, yes, thank you for the opportunity. I think the important thing is it was always part of the Orania plan to take responsibility for our own community on as many levels as possible, including something like electricity. So this is not something in reaction to load shedding that we see implemented now. However, obviously we prioritize energy for our community now. The first phase of our solar farm has just been completed. So what does that mean? That means the solar farm with the private initiatives, which we also incentivize here in Orania for individual home and business owners to get their own solar systems as well. We incentivize that way of doing things. With all that combined, we can deliver about 30% of our community's electricity resource needs. However, we are still tied to the grid, to the Eskom grid, and in multiple phases, of which this is phase 1. We are planning to go to phase 3 of Orasol, which is Orania Solar, and with the third phase we are planning to have also storage capacity in order to be able to deliver our own power from 6 AM to 10 PM every day. It's obviously a continuous process and we are working on that, getting funding. We as a community receive no funding from the state, not for our municipality and not for our initiatives. So everything we do we need to fund and build with our own labor, and obviously with the first phase now completed, which is a big victory for us, we are now working towards the second and third phase. This also includes the ability to keep our municipal services running, things like important basic services like water and sewage. Even in load shedding, or even if there would be a blackout for a long time, we would be able to deliver those very necessary basic services to our citizens.
Yes, so now we have quite a number of these solar panels already in operation. Tell us, you generate energy here. At the moment, what happens to that energy?
So as I said, this is still a grid-locked system. So our first phase of this solar farm is about 841 kilowatt peak, meaning that that's the amount of electricity we produce at its peak. Currently we put it into the grid, that meaning that the people of Orania basically buy from Orasol, but it goes through the normal municipal channels, and even if the Eskom power is on, obviously then Orania people gets this electricity first, and then we use from Eskom as necessary. We are currently in the process also registering with the National Energy Regulator in order to put more electricity actually into the grid than we as a community use and need, to be able to sell to independent third parties, which is something that you can do via Eskom's infrastructure. So as long as the infrastructure holds, we in the second phase of this project, we would be able to sell electricity from Orania to other communities if we produce more than we actually need. That would be the second phase, and that is what would happen then with the solar power in that phase. In the third phase, as I said, we are planning to make sure that we have the storage capacity, which is going to be a big project, but with our funds and the funds that we can raise, we will make that happen, and then store enough electricity to keep the important economic part of the day with energy, so that people can work. Orania is a fast-growing community, business and economy is booming, and for that reason it is vitally important that we are able to deliver a full day of electricity so that our economy can keep growing.
Tell us, in terms of stage 2 and 3, when are we looking at starting those phases and completion dates, of course? But also, you mentioned that it's very expensive. How much are we talking about, and where do you get that money from?
The second phase will start the moment that our energy, feeding back energy into the larger Eskom grid is completed, that NASA registration. Then we can start with the actual planning part of that. So the first phase or the first thing that needs to happen is that registration. Then the phases, obviously, the completion dates of those phases would be dependent on the funding. Just for storage capacity, in terms of batteries, we are speaking in terms of something like, say, about 13 million rand, give or take. That's a good way that we can start thinking about it. And that money is raised from investors inside Orania. The Orania municipality helps fund it. They're a role player. And then you have the Orania movement and the Orania Development Company, who, from our members, supporters of Orania, are able to raise some money, and through the City Development Fund actually also invest into this project. More and more supporters of Orania are willing to either invest or donate and help us make this a bigger and bigger success story. I think on the end, if we don't take responsibility for it by raising funds, by making plans, by selling power back to the people of Orania, it's dependent on us through grace, but obviously dependent on our hard work and our plans to actually raise those funds.
Thank you very much. That's Joost Strydom. He's, of course, a spokesperson for the Orania movement here at Orania in the Northern Cape. Of course, talking about Orasol, the energy project that Orania is currently busy with, of course, trying to get some energy dependence in this South Africa, where we are experiencing blackouts currently in this week and last week, looking at stage 6 load shedding. So they are currently done with phase 1 and looking forward to phase 2 and phase 3 that will see them getting more and more energy independent from Eskom.
Ulrich Hendriks there for you.